Do you live in a world filled with corporate data? Are you plagued by siloed departments? Are your lackluster growth strategies demolishing your chances for success? Are you held captive by the evil menace, Lord Lack? Lack of time, lack of strategy, and lack of the most important and powerful tool in your superhero tool belt, knowledge. Never fear, HubHeroes. Get ready to don your cape and mask, move into action, and become the Hub Hero your organization needs. Tune in each week to join the League of Extraordinary Inbound Heroes as we help you educate, empower, and execute. HubHeroes, it's time to unite and activate your powers.
Yeah, it is. 3 doors, 3 mics, talking over the intro on a live, which is beautiful. All right, today, gentlemen, we are jumping into a conversation around help desk. And this is after last week, we kind of did what I'll call a video version. We were doing a walkthrough. We are trying to help some humans understand some systems. And Chad, you said, you know, it'd be cool is if we did this for help desk. And I immediately was like, okay, I'll sign up for that, because sometimes I wonder if I use help desk properly. And I also know that there's a lot of people that have questions about help desk. And so today we are diving into HubSpot help desk. And Chad, here's where I want to start, or Max, whoever. It's like, if I'm tuning into this episode and I currently don't know what help desk is or have heard of help desk, why should I care? Like, what does help desk either help me do, or how is it more amazing than people may be giving it credit? Like, just give me your help desk lowdown to get us started.
Yeah. I mean, I really start to think about help desk when I think about, like, I have customer interactions in really any capacity that I need to manage that are much more than just a single threaded email channel. Like, you can kind of get away with using maybe the old school inbox if it's a few emails here and there and you want to keep track of whether or not you got some open inquiries, stuff like that. Sometimes that's even good for like Facebook Messenger sales channels where you have a process where people assign stuff, better than help desk maybe, because help desk always requires the ticket to be created and associated with the inbound conversation. So when I start to think about it, it's like, if I have any kind of even moderately robust support process that I'd like to build, man, help desk is great for that. It is exceptional. I've been working with help desk. If you guys remember, it was the first Hub Heroes episode that I was on as a guest before joining, was talking about help desk in its like first year of existence. And I've been a huge champion of help desk ever since. And man, I mean, it's got like, even in the setup flow now, I just hopped into a sandbox and they're starting to say like, oh, what are you currently using? Are you using this platform or that platform? Do you want to migrate? Are you using these channels? Like, this setup experience is so much better than it was. Yeah. They got the bones in there, and now they're getting the support processes to even migrate your knowledge base, to migrate your existing channels and conversations with native connectors sometimes. They got some real good stuff going on. And so when I think about help desk, I'm really thinking about managing with multiple support reps and the customer agent, hopefully, if you're doing that, because customer agent is bad. It's real good.
Good job on that, by the way.
Yeah, you like that? I did that for you, George.
Yeah,
normally we're like, can somebody take care of that in post?
We don't got no post. We're live.
We don't got no post today. But anyway, yeah, like, it's really awesome. Like, I start to think about help desk as just that real managed support process, and being able to build it in there really easy. The one thing to keep in mind is that a ticket is always required to be created for any inbound conversation or channel inside a help desk. So you want to think about your tickets object in association with help desk as like the workspace that manages your tickets.
So and that's good. That's good historical context to have, because like before, when I think like the original conversations tool came out, like when Service Hub like originally launched, right? And for the longest time, you know, the ideas of like tickets and conversations were like pretty separate, right? And with with the launch of Help Desk, it's kind of, they sort of like reset that relationship a little bit and built it around like, what if conversations and tickets had a baby, right? And ended up building, if really the centerpiece now of like all of Service Hub that like all the other new additional platforms are like built off of, right? With all the routing stuff, all the capacity stuff, the SLA stuff, all of that's like built off of this now symbiotic relationship that like Help Desk tickets and like what we kind of colloquially refer to as conversations in HubSpot now have, that they're all kind of woven together in this very beautiful way, right?
Well, it's like if you think about it, the conversations are just a back end piece that still needed to exist. And that's like, it's behind the scenes, something that's there. But unless you're a developer, you really don't even know that conversations are a thing. You kind of think about them as like thread IDs, right?
Yeah. Yeah. But also, I mean, like conversations are still available for like sales teams to manage incoming chat conversations and like all that kind of stuff. But, they kind of like decoupled Help Desk like away from that main sort of like inbox tool to kind of like be its own thing while still having that same concept of conversations underneath it all.
Which let's unpack a couple little things there. One, you still have tickets that you can just go to tickets and work through tickets, but tickets will also be part of Help Desk. The inbox, by the way, sometimes has been the bane of my existence. Like the way that I teach is like, if you have a sales at, or if you have a support at, and like you have multiple humans that have to manage these, like that's how we historically used to kind of talk about that. To be honest with you, I don't even really try to talk about that much anymore. I'm just like, I just set up Help Desk and set up your team the right way. But also we can't have this conversation and not really lean into the fact of, if you're helping people, humans, then knowledge base is huge. And customer agent then becomes huge. And so this idea of this trifecta of like Help Desk, AI help, customer agent, or I hate this called customer assistant. Anyway, assistant. Yeah, sorry. And then knowledge base is like, oh my gosh. So here's my question. So we kind of know the landscape. We know what's there versus what used to be. Chad, are there things that you like? If somebody came to you and they're like, "Sweet, dude. Like, let's streamline this conversation. What's the 1 to 3 things that I need to know about that are going to make it a no-brainer that my team should like use this?"
Well, I'm also interested in, and maybe we'll get into this, right? Like I always remembered, like, what was the bare minimum amount of stuff that you would like say like, okay, HubSpot is like technically set up, right? And like back in the day, it was, you got your website, it exists, right? You go and put the HubSpot tracking code on there, and then like you replace your forms with HubSpot forms, and like you could argue like, okay,
we're good.
It's piped in, it's connected. Let's build off this foundation. Yeah. I'm wondering, just because I haven't set up a bunch of Help Desks before, right? I've done that other motion a million times, but like never really set up Help Desk. What's like the equivalent of that, right? Like where do people generally get started of like, here's the baseline of you being set up with customer support with the Help Desk before you get into things like your agents and your capacities and your friggin' all that kind of stuff. Like, is it just as simple as connecting like a team email and then like you're off to the races, or like where do people need to go with that?
Chad laughed at you, by the way. He's like,
about team emails, which are funny. Like, I mean, how many times have you ever onboarded a client and like as a HubSpot partner, and the owner of the company connects their email to the team inbox because it says connect your email.
Yeah,
every email
so many
creates a conversation.
I've had that happen with like CEO Billy, and I've also happened once with like HR Henrietta, and people were like turning themselves. And so like, by the way, warning, do not hook up your individual business email into an inbox ever. Please do not do that.
Don't do that. Yeah. So MVP though, I just wanted to kind of laugh about that, because that's happened to all of us as HubSpot partners, and also let it be a warning that like you could totally roast yourself. The 1-to-1, it says personal email in your email settings. And I think a lot of people think that that's their like my
Gmail account
email I use for myself. It's like, no, that's your one-to-one work email. That's what it is, you know, sometimes I feel like people get confused about that too. But anyway,
it's not your game hunter 84 at gmail.com. That's not what you're putting in there.
Well, yeah, let's go ahead and get on out there.
Yeah, there you go. If you know, you know.
You know, yeah. Cool. Well, I think the things though are like, all right, define what your inbound channels are and whether or not they need migrated, right? So that's part of what the new help desk setup wizard does. It's actually really great. It asks you like what you're using right now, what channels you're using right now, and then it'll walk you through setup, config, and migration of all of that. So that's really the MVP, is like, who are my humans that I work with that are going to be in here, and how are they going to keep track outside of just new open, you know, replied, or like new, we replied to them, they replied to us and closed. Like that's the default ticket statuses basically. And there is some inbox automation that moves that around when it's like email or conversations. You also got to think about, are we doing phone support? If yes or no, like you can do inbound phone support, and even some of the channels can do inbound SMS support with third-party providers, which is pretty wild. HubSpot still doesn't do SMS in terms of their native phone numbers, but you can connect calling to your help desk now, which is a really, really big improvement over what inbox used to be. Like you used to have to make a phone call and leave notes or comments. And like, man, don't even get me started on the difference between comments and notes back in the day. That was the whole thing. But basically, what are the channels, and are those connected?
And let's back up for a second. So like, just so everybody knows, channels, because you kind of said channels a couple times, and then you started listening, like phone, SMS, email,
live chat,
WhatsApp, live chat. Like those are channels that can then be. So you got to, like, all rivers run to, right? And that's what I want people to really understand, is when we're saying channels, it's like the 3, 5, 7 ways that humans could communicate with you, with you and make it really messy, now comes into one river. One
Yes, exactly. Yep. And you can filter your tickets by those inbound channels if you wanted. Like you can have one person who handles all the live chat responsibly. Like there's also, depending on if you have enterprise, skill-based routing. You could do skills at the user level, and let's say, you know, Sally has skills in this particular product line, and if we've detected that a certain contact is associated with that product line, then all the tickets from that contact go to, you know, Sally or whatever. So that's skill-based routing. That's like the deep stuff. There's like so many cool features like that that can really, really help. But just going back to the thing is like the, you know, 3 things, right? 1 would be, what channels are we using and are they connected? 2 is, who are my humans that are going to be using it and how are they going to view their workload individually? You basically want it set up so that each person has a hopper of stuff to do and tries to get that to 0 at the end of every day with the help of customer agent, etc. And then maybe distinguishing what those roles are for those people. So live chat person, all other open tickets when live chats are not being worked or something like that. And you can even have like routing with live chat conversations, like capacity based routing. One person can only have like 2 live chats at a time or something, maximum. And last thing would be setting up working hours and SLAs. So what are the hours that we do support? And then what is our company's expectation that we would like people to be responded to within, depending on the channel. So each channel can have its own SLA if you want. And there can even be way mega advanced SLAs. And do SLAs apply in or outside of business hours? Some of that is reserved for enterprise, but SLAs in general are not. So you can have all that. And then you could get like some of the native SLA based reporting to tell you how your team's performing and how many of the tickets the customer agent's able to handle. And as you make the customer agent smarter, it can handle more and more tickets.
So first of all, I think that people, when they're not watching the live, or if they're just watching and we've already gone live, I think there's like a rewind point there, because Chad, you were just like laying stuff down, like just going for it. And as you were saying all this stuff, my brain started screaming, as it does sometimes, like strategy. And I would ask you, like, how, because it's funny, because Max goes, well, what's the minimal viable to get it rolling? And then all of a sudden I'm
more
going
the foundation, the foundation versus the MVP.
The foundation. Yeah. Okay. We'll take foundation. Then all of a sudden I'm here going, wow, we got complex real quick. Yeah. And so like, when you think of strategy, and Max, this could be you, Chad, this could be you. When you think of strategy around like the reps and conversations and all the things you said, like, is there a good place to start? Are there 2 or 3 things people should be thinking about? Like, where does your guys' brain go for that?
I mean, for me, it's always just like the same question for anything you're setting up a HubSpot is like, why are you doing it? Like, what's the point, right? Is it because like you get so much volume of inquiries from your customers that you just don't have a good way of handling it, and your service is suffering because of that? Or are you like, do you have like a great customer success team, but the workload is too crazy, so you're trying to create a bit of a heat shield with like customer agent to like, say like, hey, maybe we don't have to have, human beings handling every single question about how to reset your password, right? And like we can kind of like divert that and resolve it without human intervention like a little bit more, right? So like, so I think sometimes it's we either have like limited resources to be able to handle customer success, so we need to like set it up in a way where like one small team has like a lot of leverage because of all these different things you're setting up, or it's like we have a high volume and we have a difficult time handling it, or we're dealing with like burnout. I think like depending on your reason to want to do it, you're going to do different stuff, and so I think it always kind of comes down to like, why are you even looking at it, and like what kind of problem are you trying to, like, what is the big glaring issues that you could, at the beginning with that MVP thing, like slap a Band-Aid on it, because you're not going to nail it the first time, dude. Like, like this stuff is so complex with everything that you can do, from your SLAs to your different chatbots to your customer agents to your available times, and like all the different channels it supports and all the custom channel stuff you can do. There's so many different things you can do. Like, to think that you're going to nail it the first time is asinine. That's right? Crazy. It's going to be something that evolves. True. Right. But it's going to be something that evolves over time. But people generally step into it because they have some kind of big glaring problem with their customer success stuff. Like, I don't think people are just getting onto this and doing all of this work to say like, oh, well, everything else is on HubSpot, so we might as well get all this on HubSpot. I don't think people do that these days, right? Maybe, and especially with something, maybe some, right? But like, typically you have some kind of specific problem. And I think it's a combination of figuring out what that sort of base layer kind of level, not MVP, but like that foundation you need to set, right? But also whatever the quick fix is to that issue, so you see some immediate value out of it. And that's important, not just to make sure you retain as a HubSpot customer. That's important to make sure that when your team gets into this new tool and goes through change, which not a lot of people like, they can sit down in it and feel some kind of immediate relief from it, instead of, everything's changing at once, right? And I'm unsure how many people take that route, like just knowing you're not going to nail it perfectly at the beginning, and like just go for some small, quick wins, and set yourself on a path for success in the future. But
I talk about this all the time, one brick at a time. One brick at a time. One brick at a time builds the building. Chad, let me position this in a different way and directly to you. And I'm going to totally put you on the spot here. The phone rings. You pick up the phone, and there's a guy or a gal. And they're like, Chad, how are you doing, buddy? And you're like, I'm doing good. How are you doing?
Oh, hey, what up?
Yeah, what up? And they say, Chad, I found $5,000 under the cushions of my couch last night, and I want to have you come out, and I want you to do a workshop on help desk. Chad, what's the immediate outline of the things that you would want to cover for that day to give them a workshop.
I'm calling the FBI if anyone calls me like that. So that's missed.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely going to be, what are your goals with help desk, right? Because you have to understand what people want to do. Like as Max is talking, my brain immediately starts to go to less is more, right? In the beginning. And like, just because you do something a certain way with like spreadsheets and, sticky notes or whatever other platform doesn't mean that it has to be rebuilt the exact same way. Sometimes people get pipeline paralysis and they're like, I need a new pipeline for every ticket. Like, do you really? Or do you just need like a product line to separate your tickets out, but they all go through the similar support process? You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And so like the things that I'm going to focus on is efficiency as much as possible and not rebuilding always the same thing that we're doing, but thinking about how can we operationalize and increase efficiency with this new platform. So I'm really going to be getting people's wheels turning as much as to what the platform has to offer to say, how can we mold what we're doing into this tool set?
Okay, I got to pull the thread on there because there's two things that I heard. One, part of your strategy for that day of workshop would be getting the humans who are going to be using the eventual system to actually have conversations about the good, the bad, and the ugly of what's currently happening, and then build something that is actually for the humans moving forward in the process. And HubSpot just happens to be the platform. The second thing that came to my mind is, Max, if we turned this into a drinking game, every time we've said on the HubHeroes podcast, stop trying to build your historical platform into HubSpot, we probably would have not been able to record this episode.
We'd have different weekly meetings we'd be attending.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, exactly.
But I think, there's something you said about it is that like, yes, they're like, much like many other things in HubSpot, it is when you're migrating to a tool like this, there is always a great opportunity to not just do exactly what you had before, but like reimagine it. That doesn't mean you can't do stuff that was working well. Like you can recreate what works well for you. Absolutely. And there's like a little bit of like a strategic, way of thinking about it. In that, again, like people tend to resist change, right? And like when you can create something that's new but familiar, sometimes that's really helpful from an adoption standpoint, right? It's like, oh, maybe a new interface and a new place I log in to see my tickets and deal with my customers, but the process feels similar. I can find stuff in the same way that I could before that worked for me. But these things that were painful, we changed up and got rid of, right? Because again, new environment, new process sucks. Right. Like new environment, new process, same problems is terrible. Right. Or it makes the same problems even worse. Right.
Yeah. Because it's all new user interface. Everyone feels slower. It's more painful. It's more agonizing.
Exactly.
You're in a new UI.
Yeah. New environment, familiar process, removal of old problems feels better than that. Yeah. Right. So like you got to take that into consideration. Like you could have come up with the best ticket stages in the world and the greatest SLA system and like a sick ticket routing, automation or capacity, whatever.
Yeah.
But like none of that's going to matter when your people are coming into the tool feeling like lost as hell because they're in a new environment, right? That they don't quite know the quirks of navigating yet, like they did your old system, right? And so it's like there's all this like other stuff getting in the way that like I feel like you need to like let people ease onto it, right? You ease into it. And I feel like this is a situation where like you're probably going to be straddling tools for a little bit, right? Like, you know what I mean? Like it's like, hey, we've got like, and Chad, tell me if you think this is wrong here, but like it could be a situation where the way that you sort of like, how you take when you get fish, right? And you have fish and they're in the bag and you put them in the aquarium, but like put them in the aquarium in the bag.
Eating fish.
We're not eating. No, don't eat your fish. Okay, don't eat your goldfish. But like you take the fish, you have it in the water in the bag and you put it in the other water in the tank, right? Yep. Like an equivalent of that for help desk is like, maybe you just first just set up your connect your inbox, right? So your team can go in there and be like, oh, okay, we're still using our old system to because that's what we're comfortable doing right now. But this is what it looks like when emails start to come in, and tell your reps that are handle change a little bit better. Hey guys, why don't you go just go respond to a ticket from HubSpot or something and see how it feels. Give us feedback on how we could adjust this before we try to lift and shift everyone into it. Right. I feel like
you got to get your champions going in there.
Yeah. Help desk is probably the worst place where you can do a switch it on, switch it off, at the same time, sort of transition to, right?
I'm having a moment here because part of me agrees with you, but then part of me is oh, gee, I don't.
What's making you go, oh, gee?
And again, the idea
straddling
of
hey, is the worst because if you start having tickets coming in one.
Zoho and HubSpot for the next 90 days or 60 days, because it's funny because when I hear what you guys are saying, it's what's worse than bad systems? Two systems. What's worse than just burnout and not understanding?
Sure. And so I can tell you what's worse: flipping over before you're ready and crash and burning the entire thing.
Without a doubt.
That is without a doubt worse, right? Well, and when I say straddling two systems, I'm not saying you're doing work in two places, right? You're getting that input from the customer showing up in HubSpot so they can see what it's going to look like, where the messages show up, all that kind of stuff. You can still work out of your other system, but you'll see those emails coming in, like that kind of stuff, right?
So visibility and training.
Yes,
so,
and getting feedback from the people who are going to spend the most time in that thing, seeing it and involving them as you build it out, because you can build out help desk in 1,000 different ways. But with all the different channels and automations you can build behind it and the stages and the record customization and all this stuff, you can do a million different things, right? But the people that matter the most when you're getting the feedback and shaping this thing are the people that are going to be spending every single ounce of their day inside of it, right? And if you don't involve them in the process and you don't show them, hey, you know those tickets that you're working there? This is what it looks like when it's inside of this system. What are you missing, my dude? What is missing from here? What can we do to make it feel familiar?
What views?
What macros do you need set up? All these kind of things.
Which they have now.
It's too complex of a thing to just feel like you can build it all and then just hard switch it. It's just, you can't. It's so
Chad. So what I just heard is understanding the data model is important to set up the help desk.
Not 100%. So much the data model, just what it looks like when you're today. It's just what does it look like and feel like when your customers are communicating with you through it, right? And then going cool, if I was going to sit here and answer this ticket, what the am I missing here that I have in my other system?
Everything I need.
That kind of stuff, right? That, and that's
data model, by the way. What do you need?
To an admin, that's a
data model. Is it ergonomics of how the conversation looks? I'm not 100% sure, right? But again, sometimes, dude, I don't think a HubSpot admin is going to have that same perspective as a seasoned support person.
Okay,
right?
So now hold up. Time out. There it is. That's what I'm looking for. Chad, the importance of data model, HubSpot super admin, and human that owns help desk. Talk to
User
me.
experience,
In some cases, that's one human. But talk to me of the importance of that relationship for the success and buy-in of the teams moving forward.
Yeah, I mean, years ago, I worked at a construction management software company, and I both was the super admin as well as the dude answering tickets and doing customer success. So, customer success and customer support are a little bit near and dear to my heart because of that. Right. And that's why I like this platform so much, is because I wanted to grow with it to fit needs that our team was going to need to handle. So obviously operationally, you need the right information to answer the questions that you want to answer for any custom reporting that doesn't work outside the box. Things like product line segmentation and, making sure you're routing your customers for the customer user experience. But as an admin, you're also dealing with your internal user experience. You're serving 2 customers as an admin, right? And so, as you're working on that relationship, you really want to be working with those customer support reps that are going to be cranking through tickets as they come in inbound. What is the experience of their notification of a new inbound ticket? Is it just the HubSpot notification? Is it other things that they want to know about when certain things occur so that they can be super proactive? Like, how do you segment your priority? Is this a high priority, medium priority, low priority ticket for your customer? Like, what does the customer's need so that your reps can respond appropriately? And that's all like data model, but also needs to be considered as far as the user experiences of, this is like my cascading priority list of, this view should always be empty before this view should always be empty before that view, something like that. And one of the things that I liked in Zendesk, and if I'm to be completely honest, I don't know if HubSpot has built it out yet, is in a table view, being able to have a sort in addition to a grouping. So does that make sense? Like, I have sorted by reply, or like, last replied is oldest, and grouped by priority, where high, medium, and low are urgent. High, medium, low are urgents are always at the top, and I can work out a one view that gives me all those things. They may have actually added that, because I'm not actually currently administrating a help desk at my current company.
You're talking about like an index page that's like an index page that's like filtered by a thing. I don't know if they've done that yet.
Yeah, I don't know if
sorted.
I don't know if you have those
and
two.
Grouped.
Yeah, I don't know if you have 2, because my brain immediately went to, well, it'd be a view for XYZ, and that view would be sorted by B, but that's not what you're saying. You're saying, I want to have 2 sort filters in the
all
same
open
view,
tickets
basically.
Sorted by this, but grouped by that. So within each group of this, maybe an enum property, right? It's sorted within each of those groups, and you kind of crank through the grouped sort each of them in a row.
I wonder if they just assume you're going to build your own like views for that, right? Instead of like,
well, that would be a custom view most likely, but you would have multiple views, so your reps are having to bounce between multiple views for that. But anyway, all that to say, like, you want to think about how operationally are they going to work their way through that data, and what's their expectation.
Yeah. I guess in theory, if you do the board style help desk thing, that it's kind of inherently grouped by like a stage.
Interesting.
Right?
Well, it's by a stage. Sure.
Yeah. But like, I know what you mean. Like looking at the classic help desk view where it's like the 3 column thing, and I have all my open tickets. It would be sick if I could group them by something. Yeah,
totally.
Now we even got a wish list item in here, unless we go and research it and it's actually there. By the way, if you're watching this live or after it's live and you're like, duh, guys, it's right here, leave a comment in the freaking YouTubes. Let us know that it's right here, or we'll research it and we'll talk about it on another episode. So believe it or not, guys, we have like crested the time of this episode. I want to end this way. Let's go back. Well, no, let's just do this. What's the one thing, if you could only tell somebody one thing about help desk, positive or negative, what's the one thing that you would want to share with them? And when I say negative, I mean like a possible gotcha. It's almost leaning back into Chad. My original question that we never got to is like, what's the nerdy stuff of help desk that people should care about? But what's the one thing, Chad, Max?
I would say if you evaluated Service Hub a year or so or more ago,
a month ago,
time to do it again. The amount of stuff that they've added, even just the past year, and like all the stuff they've built on top of help desk now is just, it's a totally different tool. than it was like a year and a half ago. Right. And so, it's probably a good time to revisit that conversation.
Yeah. And I would say too, just to like piggyback on that before my one thing, because I wanted a 1.5 like George usually gets.
There you go.
It felt very fragmented before, but it's been significantly unified since you probably last looked at it. With the HubSpot Chrome extension handling like calling remote, so you don't have to have that stupid dangler window open all the time. That's been a game changer for people for doing anything with calling. Now, for mine, I would say if you're curious as to all the settings and config that are open in Help Desk, go take a look at the Help Desk page in settings and see the customized settings pane that they built for you to see at a glance all of the configs that are available between macros and, all of the SLAs and all of the users and skills and availability and the channels and chat and, if you want to IVR for your inbound phone tree, if you do phone support, AI settings, views, they have even a thing called spaces. If you have multiple teams that work in Help Desk, there's so much in there. If you're an admin, go take a peek at that and let your little imagination get inspired by what you could do with it.
Yeah. So mine is going to be another version of take a peek. You should go to the right-hand side panel, go to product updates, and you should just search Help Desk under the All tab. Because by the way, Max, I'm kind of leaning into your thing. If you haven't done it in the last year, and I jokingly said the last month, if I just start with February of 2026 to now, there's literally 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 updates. In those 7 updates, there's 3 betas. And so you should know things like team email signature, visibility and placement in inbox, prevent non-service users from sending from help desk email addresses, updates to starting and viewing multiple conversations. What?
They added additional tokens to the emails. So you can have more. They used to only have 3 user tokens. Now you have several more.
Yep. Snooze tickets in Help Desk. And by the way, Chad, you mentioned comments earlier. Yeah. Major update that you can create and view notes in Help Desk, and in brackets it says replacing comments. Okay.
Yeah, and that's been in beta for 100 years.
Yeah. Not in beta anymore. It's literally live now.
It's live.
Send an email to create a ticket in Help Desk. And the last one, assigned teams are now editable in Help Desk. So again, it's always changing. HubSpot's always making it better. And so my one thing is go take a peek at the settings, like Chad said, go take a peek at the updates, like I'm saying. And as Max said so eloquently, if you think you know, you probably don't know. So go look at it again, plain and simple. Okay, Hub Heroes, we've reached the end of another episode. Will Lord Lack continue to loom over the community, or will we be able to defeat him in the next episode of the Hub Heroes Podcast? Make sure you tune in and find out in the next episode. Make sure you head over to thehubheroes.com to get the latest episodes and become part of the League of Heroes. FYI, if you're part of the League of Heroes, you'll get the show notes right in your inbox, and they come with some hidden power-up potential as well. Make sure you share this podcast with a friend, leave a review if you like what you're listening to, and use the hashtag HubHeroes Podcast on any of the socials, and let us know what strategy conversation you'd like to listen into next. Until next time, when we meet and combine our forces, remember to be a happy, helpful, humble human, and of course, always be looking for a way to be someone's hero.